The precise instant the brand met its demise, I was planted 10 feet away, clutching a bag of organic kale like some silent, leafy prop in her self-produced spectacle. My girlfriend, though girlfriend, feels generous now. Maya was fully immersed in her element, bathed in the flattering halo of a professional ring light, phone propped up on the marble kitchen island, performing with practiced charm for the thousands tuned into her TikTok livestream. I'd just returned from the grocery store, arms laden with bags, stepping into a scene I hadn't auditioned for, but was now undeniably cast in. She flicked a glance over her shoulder, just a microsecond, and I caught the flash of irritation in her eyes before she pivoted back to her adoring digital crowd, flashing that $1 million smile. Her ever-present hype woman and best friend, Caroline, sat just beyond the frame, eyes glued to a laptop screen, monitoring the live comment feed like a hawk scanning for prey. "Oh my God, you guys are killing me," Maya trilled, reading aloud from the comments. One user named StylinSteph22 had typed, "Is that the boyfriend in the background? He's so normal." Caroline snorted, a sharp, derisive laugh escaping her. Maya leaned conspiratorially toward the phone, dropping her voice into that exaggerated stage whisper meant for maximum audience effect. "Guys, be nice," she cooed, barely containing a smirk. "We can't all be tens, you know? Honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm doing charity work. Like, everyone keeps asking me why I'm dating down." On Caroline's laptop, the comments section erupted tsunami waves of laughing, crying emojis, skull emojis, and rapid-fire comments like, "OMG, spill the tea!" and "Maya, you're a savage queen." Caroline rocked back in her chair, howling with glee. Maya drank it in, her grin stretching wider. She'd just tossed me into the digital coliseum for a few fleeting seconds of engagement, feeding me to her ravenous, anonymous audience like sacrificial entertainment. I didn't flinch, didn't speak, didn't even blink. I stood frozen in the doorway, groceries in hand, face utterly blank. Inside my head, something clicked, not emotionally, not romantically, not even angrily. It was a professional recalibration, a cold, hard reset. I'm a brand strategist by trade. I architect narratives, I sculpt images. I build entire careers from nothing but raw potential and sweat equity. And in that moment, I issued the terminal prognosis for our most ambitious project, the Maya brand. She had just administered the lethal injection to her own product in public with witnesses for laughs. My new assignment? Manage the recall. Execute the controlled demolition. I walked calmly to the refrigerator, unloaded the groceries with mechanical precision, and tucked the kale into the crisper drawer like nothing had happened. I didn't interrupt the stream, didn't confront her. A live audience of thousands wasn't the venue for a strategic intervention. They thought I was a background extra in her one-woman show. They had no idea I was the executive producer, and I was about to pull the plug on the entire series. That night, after she drifted into deep, oblivious sleep, I slipped into my office. This wasn't some impulsive midnight meltdown. I executed a meticulously pre-planned contingency protocol. I packed only mission-critical hardware, my laptops, external hard drives brimming with proprietary data, personal documents, encrypted backups. Then, with surgical precision, I began the systematic dismantling of the entire digital empire I'd spent 2 grueling years constructing for her. Let me clarify something fundamental. Our relationship was never a love story. It was a joint venture. I met Maya 2 years ago when she was slinging lattes at a third-wave coffee shop, armed with a charming smile and a follower count barely scraping 700. I didn't fall for her. I saw potential in the concept of her. She was a blank canvas, and in my line of work, that's the rarest, most valuable commodity you can find. I pitched her a proposal. I'd take her on as my sole pro bono client. I'd invest my time, expertise, and a significant chunk of my own capital to transform her into a profitable lifestyle influencer. I'd handle strategy, tech, brand partnerships, content calendars, analytics, crisis management, you name it. Her only job? Be the face. Be charismatic on camera. Follow the roadmap. The romantic component? That was part of the brand architecture and aspirational power couple narrative that audiences eat up and advertisers pay top dollar for. This wasn't a romance with business perks. It was a business with romantic aesthetics. I wasn't some simp bankrolling her dreams. I was the founder, CEO, and COO of Maya Inc. She was the product, and she'd just demonstrated, in front of a live audience, that she was fundamentally defective. So there I sat in my office at 2 horas a.m., initiating the official shutdown sequence. Update 1. The first 24 hours were dedicated to extraction and containment. Objective? Sever every one of my assets from the failing brand. Maya, thankfully, was a heavy sleeper nature's gift to covert corporate dissolution. Before sunrise, I reclaimed my property. The professional-grade mirrorless camera she used for her aesthetic videos. Mine. The studio-grade lighting rigs that made her skin glow like she'd been dipped in liquid gold. Mine. The MacBook Pro I'd gifted her for editing. Also mine. All equipment provided under the terms of our venture. I packed everything into rugged Pelican cases, labeled, inventoried, secured. I also retrieved the physical server hosting her personal website, a sleek, custom-built digital portfolio I'd coded and designed from the ground up. No note, no dramatic exit. Notes are emotional artifacts. I was performing a corporate wind down. I relocated to a new apartment I'd quietly leased 6 months prior under my company's legal entity, a contingency space. Fully furnished, tech-ready, anonymous. A good strategist always has an exit ramp. Once settled in my new command center, I launched Phase 2, the digital takedown. First, the website. At precisely 7 a.m., Maya the glow-up. Com blinked offline. In its place, a stark, minimalist white page, centered in plain black Helvetica. This brand is no longer under the management of its founding strategist. No explanation, no apology, no drama. Just a sterile corporate death notice designed to confuse her followers and terrify her brand partners. Next, the sponsorships. Over the past year, I'd personally negotiated and locked in 6 high-value, long-term endorsement deals with premium fashion, beauty, and wellness brands. These deals were the financial lifeblood of the operation. I had direct lines to every marketing executive involved. I spent the morning drafting identical, clinically worded emails. Subject: Urgent strategic update. Regarding the Maya brand. Dear executive's name, please be advised that as of today, I have formally ceased my role as brand strategist and manager for Maya. As the architect of the brand identity and primary negotiator of our partnership, I feel it is my professional obligation to inform you that I can no longer vouch for the strategic alignment or brand safety of any future content she may produce. For your reference regarding this decision, I have attached a time-stamped 8-second video clip from her most recent public livestream. The clip? Naturally, the dating down moment. I hit send at 9 a.m. Then, I leaned back and watched the dominoes begin their inevitable cascade. While that unfolded, I turned to the content library. A substantial percentage of Maya's most viral videos featured background music. What her audience didn't know, and what she certainly didn't understand, was that this wasn't random royalty-free pop. I had licensed every track commercially through my agency. This was intentional. A control mechanism baked into the foundation. At 11 a.m., I filed formal copyright takedown notices with TikTok and Instagram for every video containing music under my license. I wasn't trolling. I was legally revoking her right to use assets I owned. Each notice was meticulously documented, legally airtight, and impossible to dispute. Finally, the social media accounts themselves. I'd set them up using a master administrative email I controlled. I couldn't seize her accounts, that would cross legal lines. But I could yank the safety net. I changed the master email password, enabled multi-factor authentication tied exclusively to my devices. She still had access, for now. But if she ever forgot her password, lost her phone, got hacked, recovery was impossible. The digital kingdom I'd built for her now rested on quicksand. By noon, Phase 1 was complete. Assets extracted. Stakeholders notified. Infrastructure strategically compromised. I blocked Maya's number, but left Caroline's open. I knew Caroline would be the first emissary sent to assess the wreckage. I brewed myself a cup of coffee, sat back, waited. Update 2. The first distress signal from the imploding empire arrived at 3:17 p.m. Same day. Text from Caroline. What the hell's going on? Maya's website is glitching and 3 of her top videos just got deleted for copyright. Are you doing this? I replied with surgical brevity. I am managing a brand dissolution. Her response? A string of 7 question marks. Then, minutes later, Maya is freaking out. She's been blowing up your phone. You need to fix this. That skincare brand just emailed her asking about some video you sent them? I didn't respond. First sponsor contact achieved. The plan was accelerating beyond projections. The next 48 hours unfolded like a symphony of consequences, conducted remotely by me. I monitored developments through a burner Instagram account I'd created for precisely this scenario. Maya's first move? Panic masked as poise. She posted a tearful Instagram story. Hey guys, having some technical issues with my account. My website is down. Working on fixing it. Thanks for your patience. She was trying to project control, unaware she had none. But the copyright strikes kept rolling in. By sunset, a dozen of her most popular algorithm-boosting videos had vanished. Her follower growth, which I'd engineered through hyper-targeted campaigns, flatlined, then began to dip. Engagement cratered as the algorithm punished her for mass deletions. Then the sponsors started jumping ship. First, the skincare brand. Formal email, pausing partnership pending brand safety review. The video clip I'd sent them, a direct violation of the positive, uplifting, inclusive clause I'd embedded in every contract. By day 2, 2 more major brands followed suit. These weren't pocket change. This was thousands, tens of thousands of monthly revenue evaporating overnight. Maya's content quality nosedived. Without my camera, my lighting, my editing suite, she was reduced to filming shaky, poorly lit phone footage. Her videos looked like they belonged to a teenager's side hustle, not a 6-figure influencer. She tried to keep up the bubbly facade, but the strain was visible tight smiles, darting eyes, forced laughter. She was a CEO suddenly forced to operate machinery she'd never bothered to learn. Caroline, the ride-or-die best friend, turned out her loyalty had an expiration date tied to Maya's net worth. Word through the grapevine. Caroline was already distancing herself. She'd loved the free luxury skincare, the VIP event invites, the Instagram tags that made her look important. Now that the brand was radioactive, Maya was a liability, not an asset. The calls to my phone escalated frantic, then furious, then pleading. Voicemails piled up. I listened to exactly 0 of them. The official termination of our romantic contract required an in-person meeting. Protocol demanded it. The final fatal blow landed on day 2. TikTok's copyright enforcement system is largely automated. Multiple legitimate documented strikes in rapid succession triggers an immediate review, and since every takedown notice I'd filed was 100 valid, the system performed exactly as designed. At approximately 4 p.m., the Maya the Glow Up TikTok account won. 2 million followers, hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential future earnings, was permanently terminated for repeated intellectual property violations. Final update. 1 week since I initiated the brand recall. The finale played out precisely as foreshadowed. 2 days after her TikTok account vanished, my apartment buzzer rang. It was her. I let her up. I wanted her to see the new space. Larger, cleaner, minimalist. The home of a man unburdened by emotional or financial liabilities. She looked spectral. Face pale, puffy, eyes hollow. The designer outfit she wore, probably the last luxury item she owned, hung on her like a costume she no longer had the strength to perform in. She started sobbing before she even crossed the threshold. You have to fix it, she choked out. Everything's gone. My account, the sponsors, everything. You did this. I didn't offer her a seat, didn't hand her a tissue. Just stood there, arms crossed, posture neutral. I didn't do anything, Maya, I said, voice calm, even devoid of heat. I simply reclaimed what was mine: my equipment, my website, my licensed music. The brand was a joint venture. You were the talent. I was the strategist. When the talent publicly humiliated the strategist and revealed herself to be a catastrophically flawed product, the venture was terminated. I didn't sabotage you. I unwound our partnership. It was a joke, she wailed. A stupid joke. I didn't mean it. You performed a real-time cost-benefit analysis in front of thousands, I countered. You calculated that a few seconds of cheap laughs from your followers were worth more than my dignity and our entire professional alliance. You were wrong. Spectacularly, irreversibly wrong. She stared at me, a flicker of that old arrogance resurfacing. So what? You ruined my life because your feelings got hurt? You are fundamentally misunderstanding the situation, I said, stepping closer. My feelings are irrelevant. This was not an emotional decision. It was a business decision. You were not my girlfriend who made a mistake. You were a brand that had turned toxic, a product generating negative ROI. And my job, the only job that matters in this context, is to mitigate risk and cut losses. You weren't a person to me in that moment, Maya. You were a hemorrhaging line item. So I wrote you off. I walked to my desk, picked up a single sheet of paper, an itemized invoice. Listed every dollar, equipment valuation, market rate fees for 2 years of branding management strategy, website development costs, licensing fees, overhead. The total at the bottom? $217,500. This, I said, handing it to her, is what I invested in you. I don't expect payment. I want you to comprehend the scale of the asset you incinerated for a cheap laugh. You didn't just lose a boyfriend, you lost an entire corporation built to catapult you into the stratosphere. She stared at the paper, then at me. The realization finally, truly sank in. She hadn't been dating down. She'd been carried, elevated, polished, monetized by a man she never saw, never valued, never respected. I have nothing, she whispered. I know, I said. I opened the door to my apartment. Clean, quiet, mine. The market has corrected itself. Goodbye, Maya. She stumbled out, shoulders shaking, the invoice still clutched in her trembling hand. I closed the door, felt nothing, no guilt, no satisfaction. Just the quiet, cool completion of a project executed to specification. Her social media empire erased. Her sponsorships terminated. Her friends vanished. She's back where she started, a waitress. 700 followers, no strategy, no safety net, no me. My revenge wasn't loud. Wasn't cruel, wasn't petty. It was quiet, precise, absolute. I didn't ruin her life. I simply took mine back. And when I did, I took hers with it.